Global law Buddhanga is never ending. Pratik is the personification of supreme transcendental bliss. Devoid of any concept of false ego, Nitai wanders about the town, going from door to door in the residences of the most fallen and wretched souls. He freely distributes the gift of the Harinam or Mahamantra. He exclaims to whoever he sees while holding straw between his teeth, please purchase me by worshipping Gaurav Hari. Saying thus, Nityananda rolls about on the ground, appearing like a golden mountain, tumbling in the dust. Rochadas Thakur says, whoever has not experienced the awakening of affection for such an avatar as this, that simple person simply comes and goes uselessly in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Adhyanatirandasya Dhyanashalapayan Chakshurumilitam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Ishram Sthapitam Nina Bhutale Swayam Upahakada Dati Svamadasikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Krita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupa Satyajata Sahanam Raghunathanvikam Tamsajivam Sarvikam Sanam Paridanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitam Shri Ram Krishna Sahanam Shri Vishakham Vikamscha Namah Krishna Paraya Krishna Krishna Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste. Namaste Saraswati Devi Pranamami Prashanti Nirvishesha Namo Mahavadanya Krishna Prema Pudayanti Krishna 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 He Krishna Bhagwan Sri Guru Krishna Gopisha Gopi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Mukam Karumati Vacha Purnate Yatripa Braham Pardeshi Sri So we do it all of you for the Sunday Music program at 14 is from 14 and 14. And I'm very happy and glad to be amongst all of you. It was a couple of years that I was here of what the plans. And Stephen has always been very welcoming and inviting. And I'm grateful to him that he has given me a chance to play Krishna Katha with all of you. So in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, the greatness of a person can be estimated by the ability to tolerate provoking situations. How much can one tolerate provoking situations? And that much a person can be considered great. Hmm? So greatness of a person can be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. And that's one of the first instructions Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Learn to tolerate. Right? And today we discussed three kinds of tolerance. Right? and four levels. So, uh, three levels and four kinds of tolerance. Three levels we'll see from the scriptures. Three levels of the lowest level, with the medium, and then the highest level of tolerance shown by somebody. Right? And four kinds of tolerance we'll discuss when we start practicing bhakti in association with devotees. These four kinds of tolerance we'll have to practice. Hmm? So, before we begin, I have chosen the famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, contents of the Gita summarized, and this is text 40, 2.40. 44. मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदः आगमापायिनो नित्या सांस्थितिक्षस्व भारत मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदः आगमापायिनो नित्या सांस्थितिक्षस्व भारत Translation and conclude by His Divine Grace Abhay Chandra in the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki translation. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from the sense perception, O shrine of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Purport. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magh, January, February. It has been cold at the time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's son, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he's supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. So, Prabhupada is saying the purport in the matter of discharge of our duty. Right? So the certain duties assigned to us, right, from birth, and as we live in the body, as soul, when we are living in the body will undergo changes, the atmosphere around will undergo changes, the people that we interact with, right? When all this has to happen, right? Should we go in time? The Krishna is telling Arjuna, you will have to learn the art of tolerance. Tolerance is the name of the dream, as the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course. Krishna is saying they're just like appearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. So one must learn to tolerate. Right? So when we come to the temple, let's say we are in front of the deities and we pray for superpower. Krishna, Gauranga, please bless me for superpower. Hmm? So we may pray for somebody say, oh, if I can get a superpower for flying, I could fly. I could read the minds of others, right? I may become invisible. You may think this is superpower, but Krishna is first of his instruction in the Gita. And like I told you, Prabhupada is saying in the Krishna book, greatness of a person is to be estimated by the power of, of tolerance. Right? Srila Prabhupada, if he if he would wish for a superpower, Prabhupada would wish for getting this art of tolerance, this capacity to tolerate, right? So we all have also come across the marshmallow test. Anybody can tell us what is a marshmallow test? You've seen those videos and the test. You also undergo anytime the marshmallow test.
In the class, a few kids were given marshmallows
Yes,
and they were told that you can take one,
you can eat
but
one.
you can eat one, but if you wait for 5 minutes, you
Well,
will
if
get
you wait for 5 minutes, if you tolerate for 5 minutes, then you can get
two.
two. So there also the test for tolerance was done, right? So much depends on our ability to tolerate temporary discomfort, right? And for greater happiness later, right? And many times we may also pray to Krishna, Krishna, life is going through so much. Please give me the strength to tolerate, right? And then one devotee comes in front of us and we lose our cool all the more. But Krishna answered your prayer. Send a devotee to test, right? Test your tolerance and give you tolerance. So tolerance is not merely a moral virtue. Tolerance is a foundational quality for our spiritual life. And just as all the qualities, right, all the good qualities, right, they need to be cultivated. So I cultivate those good qualities, I work on those good qualities, and I also wait for Krishna to bless me. So I make the effort from my side and I wait for Krishna's blessings. It's like, uh, for example, just like in the army, right? In the those who are in the army, they're awarded a lot of colored bands and some insignias, right? So the army man, the person in the defense army, they will also work hard, and these insignias are blessed. They are awarded. Similarly, the wonderful qualities of devotees, humility, tolerance, we all hear about the devotee executes devotional service, and Krishna also blesses us, right? We also receive it as blessings. So, to tolerate this ability to tolerate, now Arjuna's question is, should I fight the war or not? And Krishna is beginning his Bhagavad Gita. He's saying, Arjuna, first understand that you are not this body, but your spirit soul. And while you are living in this body, you have to learn the art of tolerance. Hmm? So, Tam Titikshasva Bharata. Krishna begins. So, three levels of tolerance. The first of the level is the simplest level is what Krishna is hinting to Arjuna. Why should I tolerate if somebody says, no, I want to fight, I don't want to do this, on my own. Krishna said, no, no, wait, tolerate. Not everything will go your way in life. Right? You may wish things will happen in a certain way, but when they do not, then you need the power to tolerate. Right? So Krishna is saying, why should you tolerate? Right? The easiest of the levels is of what Krishna is expecting from Arjuna, just because things are beyond your control. Just as the changing of seasons, right? Summer and winter, right? The seasons will change. With summer, you cannot do anything. So, you tolerate, you can put on a fan, you can have an AC, but you'll have to tolerate at some level, you'll have to tolerate the heat. Similarly, in winter, what can you do? Can you stop the chilling season? You cannot. Again, you put on some clothes, but you tolerate. So, Krishna's first level of tolerance is because it is beyond you, accept the fact of it that you cannot change it, you tolerate. Why? Because you are sure, and all these things, the summer and winter season, there's pain associated with the change, but because you have not the body, understand this experience is simply the senses coming in the contact with sense object. You have to learn to tolerate. So this is Krishna's first level of tolerance. For the second level of tolerance, we'll have to go to Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Brahmaji gives a second higher level of tolerance. Tattenukampa Susamikshama Bunjana Eva Nakintam Vipata Tatvat Vapurge Vidatam Namaste Jive Kayo Mukti Sada Pada Jive Kayo Mukti Pade Sadaya Bha. Brahmaji is saying, you understand, whatever is happening in your life is simply your own karma, and whatever is coming your way is simply Krishna's mercy. Right? Sri Prabhupada would say, if my karma demanded that my hand would get cut, right, Krishna will have only will give me my finger will get cut, and that is Krishna's mercy. Accept it that it is my own karma, it is my own doing, and this is coming back to me. So from what Krishna is telling Arjuna to what Brahmaji is expecting, I accept all the problems as my own. It is my karma and it is coming back to me. A higher level of tolerance is needed, is expected here. Hmm? That whatever is coming is Krishna's mercy. I accept it as God's mercy on me. The third level of tolerance, which is the highest level of tolerance displayed by any devotee, and even the great sadhus, even great Vaishnavas worship this level. This level is of Kunti Maharani. When Kunti, in the first canto of Bhagavatam, she is praying to Krishna, Vipata Sankutah Shashvat, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru, Bhavato Darshanam Yat Syat, Apunar Bhavadarshanam. Now, she's recounting all the troubles and calamities that they underwent. And she says, Krishna, thank you for saving us from all those calamities. And then she prays, let those calamities come again and again. Now, who would pray for calamities? Right? She's saying, I am ready to tolerate all that trouble. Why? Because I know when calamities happen to us, it is so easy to pray to you, to remember you. And the goal of life is to remember Krishna. If calamities help me, let them come. I'm ready. Who will ever pray? We come to the temple, nobody comes to the temple and prays for, I should get disease, right? May there be trouble tomorrow at my home. May the world, may there be third world war. Nobody will do that. But Kunti Maharani's level of tolerance is, if all these troubles come my way and if they help me to remember Krishna, I accept it. The topmost, the highest level of tolerance. So there was one boy, he was playing soccer. And while playing soccer, he had a fractured leg. He broke his leg. And he was admitted to a hospital. And when he was in his room, he saw that a very beautiful nurse, she would come 2 times a day She would take care of him, and she would bring food for him. And 1 or 2 days, and he fell in love with the nurse. Right? And a few days went by, and one day the nurse came to the room with a discharge card that you are discharged from the hospital. And he could not accept it. What? I have to go from this place. Yes, the same nurse who came with the medicine and the care and the food and everything came with the discharge card. When this boy was going away from the hospital, while going towards his home, this boy started praying, when will I get a fractured leg once again? when will I when will I have a fractured what? So is he a devotee of misery or the fractured leg? No. He doesn't love the fracture. He understands if my leg gets fractured, I will get admitted again, and again I'll get to see the nurse, and again I'll get to talk to her. Right? If misery takes me closer to my love, so be it. This is Kunti Maharani's level. I can undergo any problems. I can undergo any troubles. I can accept any level of calamity if that helps me to remember Krishna. Right? So this level of tolerance of Kunti Maharani, right, is the highest level of tolerance. And we may not have that capacity to tolerate now, but we should slowly try to build upon it, like little by little. Like Dhruva Maharaj, when he went to the forest, under the instruction of Narada, he increased his austerities little by little. Then it is said, Atma Vritti Anusarena. As Atma Vritti, whatever is one's capacity, right, we increase that tolerance a little by little. We increase it, right? We work on that quality. So, uh, let's time with me. So, we discussed 3 levels of tolerance. Now, let us discuss 4 kinds of tolerance that we need, especially when we come in a association of devotees, right? And we are practicing Krishna consciousness, right? How many of you, you stood in the queue for prasadam, and then by the time you reached, somebody told you, sweet is over. Sweet is over. You told me to serve in another place. I was doing all the hard efforts I put there. And by the time I come, you're saying there's no sweet. What's going on? Already, Prabhu. Already. By, by the time you come to the temple hall, you find all the chairs are taken. What? Chair for me. I'm so senior. I've been coming here for so many years. I and nobody even gets it. I just sit on. So what do we do when we come in association of devotees, especially, and then we start serving with devotees? We will be tested by Maya, and we'll also be tested by Krishna to learn the art of tolerance. Because the goal is not that I prove myself amongst devotees. The goal is to go back to God while being in association of devotees. We'll have to be there, right? And different devotees will come from different backgrounds. They may have different opinions, right? They may have different focus. But when we start serving together, right, we will have to have this capacity to tolerate others. Yeah. So the 4 types of tolerance. So tolerance is also called as sahishnutta. Tolerance. So Krishna, when is Shukdev Goswami in the Bhagavatam 10th canto says, one time Krishna went to the forest along with his friends, and this morning, what did Krishna do? Krishna showed his friends a huge tree laden with fruits. And what is so Krishna says, look, this tree, the more the number of fruits, the more the tree bends, the more the tree serves, the more the tree tolerates. And Krishna says, this tree is a lesson, is teaching a lesson to us. Somebody will come and pluck the fruit, somebody will take the flowers off, somebody will even cut the branches, right? But the tree never complains. The tree keeps on serving, the tree keeps on offering. And Krishna says, those who have the human form of life, if they cannot tolerate, Even the trees, apparently the legs are tied to the ground. What worth? Krishna says, even the trees laugh at such a human being. You got all the facilities and you could not. If the tree can, why can't you? Right? So the four kinds of sahashrutas, the four kinds of tolerance that we will need while practicing Krishna consciousness and while practicing in association of devotees. So the first kind of tolerance is called Vega Sahishnuta. Right? Vega means the speed. Vega means, especially Rupa Goswami talks about six kinds of Vegas. Anybody knows the Vega verse from NOI? वाचो वेगम मनसः क्रोध वेगम जिह्वा वेगम उदर उपस्थ वेगम एतान वेगान यो विषयेत धीरः सर्वान् अपि मां पृथिवीं शिष्या. So there are Vegas that will that attack us. What is Vacho Vega? The 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 speech, but it's this urge to speak. Proper uses the word Vega, proper translates as urge. The urge is right. So urge to speak is a Vega. Vacho Vega, mind, the urges of the mind, the urges of anger, right? Then again urge of tongue to eat, right? The belly, the genitals, such strong urges. Dhiraha, tolerate, right? Especially Krishna in the Gita says, Narkasya Dhanam, the three doors to hell. Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. Lust, anger, and greed. These are three doors to hell, Krishna is saying. So, Kama, त्रिविधम नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनम् आत्मनः काम क्रोधस्तथा लोभः तस्मात् एतं त्रयं त्यजेत्. Hmm? So one time one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I have conquered lust. Prabhupada said, go and see a doctor. Lust is not easy to be conquered, right? So Krishna in the Gita says how this lust is like compared to an all-devouring fire, right? This lust, Ravana, everything was going on nice in life, whatever way it was going on, Ravana's way. But still Lanka was fine. Lanka was going on smooth, everything was going on smooth in Lanka. But Shurpanaka, who was lusty after Ram, right? She had lust, but she comes to Lanka and says, Ravana, what kind of ladies have you collected in your Lanka? You think you got the best from everywhere? No, you don't have Sita. And Ravana's lust gets evoked. Everyone is explaining Ravana. Please leave this Sita. If the Sita is around, especially Vibhishan, especially Vibhishan compares, Vibhishan says, there's a room full of cotton, and if you just put one spark, right, what will happen? You will not even get ashes. Everything is gone. Right? Vibhishan says, similarly, this Sita will prove to be that spark of fire for Lanka. Ravana heard it, right? Ravana's wife Mandodari said, 6 months, you know, Kumbhakarna would sleep, and 6 months he would be awake. But when he was woken up, even out of his sleep, he said the same thing. Leave Sita. Everyone came by, but his lust, when became so overpowering, right? Vegas Sahishnuta, he could not tolerate. I will not give back Sita, no matter what, right? And if the lust is satisfied, one can say, oh, let me satisfy my lust. And Krishna said, then it takes the shape of anger. Like Kamanuja, the younger brother of lust is anger. Right? So, so Arjuna, he asks in Bhagavad Gita, uh, Vishwanath Thakur is paraphrasing, how long should I tolerate? And Krishna says in the Gita, Shaknoti ihaiva iha suru prak sharir vimokshana. till the time you give up this body, till that time we have to tolerate these Vedas. Never think, oh, I have been practicing for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. Pra Sharir Vimokshana. So one time Akbar, he mentioned to Birbal, his minister, no, I cannot be this. Plus, it will go away with age, with capacity, everything. This lust will go away. And people said, no, no, you need to work on it. And you have to be always alert against this lust till the point of death. And Akbar said, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe. So Birbal said, okay, fine, I'll teach you a lesson. One fine day, Birbal did not come to the assembly. And Akbar, the king, was called to a particular address and he was told that Birbal is inviting you there. So the king thought, fine, Akbar thought, I'll go. When he reached that the particular address, he was told that in this house, an old man is about to die and Birbal is inside and he's called you and your daughter also was invited, she's coming behind. So Akbar, the king, was called, called to come inside the house, and the old man who's about to die, like he heard the announcement, oh, the king, the great king Akbar Maharaj is entering, and the old man, invalid, about to die, he did not even open his eyes to receive the king. Fine. And then the daughter was invited. Please come in. As the daughter entered, Akbar and Birbal observed this. The old man, invalid, about to die, as soon as the girl entered, ch- 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 and he opened his eyes and he's looking up, down, scanning. And Birbal said, you understood? What? Birbal said, I told you, this lust does not go away. Look at him, old man, about to die. The lust is so powerful to enjoy this world. That desire is so strong. So Krishna in the Gita is saying, tolerate the lust, tolerate anger, and tolerate greed. This Veda Srishnuka, we will need to tolerate these things if we want to practice Krishna consciousness. Right? When we have to sit and chant peacefully, meditatively, right? We have to sit in a class, hear attentively, this lust, anger, greed, everything can come. Right? All these anarthas, they come up and simple process of chanting of holy name, where we would chant and hear becomes so difficult. Right? So Krishna is saying in the Gita, this lust, anger, and greed. Actually, out of the three, greed is considered the most dangerous also at a level. Because a lusty man can be identified. An angry man, he could quickly identify. But a greedy person, oh, the greed remains inside, hidden. Okay. So that is the first level of Sahishnata that we need. The first level of tolerance, the first kind of tolerance, sorry, the first kind of tolerance is Veda Sahishnata, the urges. We'll have to tolerate those urges. The second kind of tolerance that we need is called Dvandva Sahishnata. The Dvandva, the dualities of this world will hit. Success, defeat, good, bad, right, wrong, and these extremes will play part, right? Then we will need to tolerate. Mhm. So, right, sometimes we become disturbed, right? If we plan something, we put our efforts, and if we don't become successful, yeah, this thing don't make I and being Prabhupada. So we'll have to tolerate this wonder, these dualities, right? We'll find Srila Prabhupada, the disciples was was so obedient. They would do anything for Srila Prabhupada. But sometimes Srila Prabhupada also would come across disciples who would not listen, who would misbehave. Right? Prabhupada was in one city and a donor came forward said, I want to donate a restaurant to the ISKCON temple. And the president, he told one devotee, please take care of the legal affairs, legal matters, and see to it that the restaurant is comes to on ISKCON's name. Right? And after a couple of months, when the president asked, so what about the restaurant? I want to see the papers. And when the papers were shown, the restaurant was instead of ISKCON's name, the restaurant was in the name of this devotee. And the president thought, what do I do? And Srila Prabhupada was supposed to come. And this president, he told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what should we do with this devotee? He has done something like this. This devotee was called. And Prabhupada asked his disciple, so whose disciple are you? So he said, Prabhupada, you are a disciple. The Prabhupada said, that whatever belongs to you, whatever belongs to me belongs to you. And Prabhupada, what about that restaurant? That belongs to me too. Prabhupada said, simply go away. Go away from. See, even this has to be tolerated, right? When the Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmic miseries, these are dualities of this world, right? The body will give trouble, the mind will give trouble, troubles from outside. We will need to tolerate one to one, right? Like Srila Prabhupada, like from his life, we see so much, so many disciples he got, so much appreciation he got. But while he is, he's getting that appreciation, there was always the other side where challenges were there, where defeats were experienced, right? To the point, and for the Juhu land in India, for the Radha Raspian temple, Prabhupada said, oh, it was a great battle. We have to even fight that. Tolerate so much to get that land and the temple for Radha Raspi Hari, right? So Srila Prabhupada was one time in Australia, Sydney, and devotees had invited one lady, a female reporter, right, from a local newspaper. She was supposed to come and interview Srila Prabhupada. But the devotees told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, she's never known to be writing anything good about whoever she interviews. She's very critical about everything. So when she is going to ask you questions, Prabhupada, please forgive us. So she's going to be very challenging whatever she asks. So this lady came, and when she came into the room, she was wearing a very slow, and she sat in front of Prabhupada. And the first question she asked was, Swamiji, you are a renounced person, right? You are following the path of renunciation. What is it? Why did you use a Cadillac car to come to the Mumbai to your place of stay? And Prabhupada said, a Cadillac car, steel, made of steel. I am representative of God. Even golden car is less for me. You're like, what? He talks back. Then she said, oh, you are a Swami, right? And you are staying in the presidential suite of, Hilton Hotel here. Why such a nice place for you? And Prabhupada said, for my sake, I will even stay under a tree. But you won't come to take my interview there. That's why I'm living here. She was like, what? This guy is a different case. Then she said, Swami, why do you keep your heads bowed and you wear a mattress below? Another challenging. Your head is bald, right? And you're wearing a mattress below. And so Prabhupada said, we know how to keep our heads cool and legs warm. Right? The next morning, Prabhupada was asking devotees, I want to see the newspaper. I want to see the newspaper. And the devotees were trying to hide the newspaper away from him. But ultimately, Prabhupada called one devotee and said, bring the newspaper and read it for me. I want to read the article. I want to see what that lady has written. And this devotee said, Prabhupada, nothing good about this from you, Prabhupada. Still reading it. And the devotee read the entire article and Prabhupada said, wonderful. She has written such nice article. Devotees were taken aback. Oh, what is good about this article? And Prabhupada said, read it again and now count the number of times the word Krishna has come in the article. And the devotees counted, it was 18 times. And Prabhupada said, today, how many copies of this newspaper will get printed? Maybe million copies? Was it million into 18 times? 18 million times Krishna's name will be chanted today in Australia. Our life is successful. Our mission is successful. Prabhupada could tolerate all this and still stay Krishna with it. One were Sahishnuta. The third. So first two Sahishnuta, first two kinds of tolerance are personal level. Now what was the first one? Vega Sahishnuta. The second one was Sahishnuta. Now the next two are when we are practicing in association of devotees, we all need association. The Prabhupada says we cannot practice alone. We'll have to come in association and practice Krishna consciousness. But there are two kinds of tolerance will be there. The first is Paramata Sahishnuta, others' opinions to be tolerated, right? So when we are living with others, right? So, uh, different people with different backgrounds, right? Different people conditioned for different modes, everyone coming with their different set of karma. When they come together, right? Paramata Sahishnuta. My scripture master, he was mentioning one time that there was a Janmashtami meeting and devotees had come together to give their opinion, their ideas, how Janmashtami should be celebrated this year. Especially two devotees had one very strong opinion. They were very strong about their opinions. And during the meeting, there was an argument, right? An argument so bad that they were not talking to each other. Janmashtami they happened. The festival also got over. And after the festival also, these two devotees are not able to talk to each other. So my spiritual master asked, was the Janmashtami festival successful or not? No. Why? Because Janmashtami means the devotees should have come all the way together, served together. The love amongst the devotees, the cooperation amongst the devotees should have increased. But if that did not happen, Janmashtami function was a festival, was a failure. So when we are serving along, right, what should happen? Paramata Sahishnuta. I learn to tolerate others' opinions. Right? If I cannot, then I'll not be able to serve in association of devotees. Hmm? Right? Like one brahmachari, he was saying everything about our ISKCON temple is very nice. Everything about our temple is very good. Whatever Prabhupada has given is so wonderful. Just one problem. Why this morning program? Why not evening program? Why do we wake up with the following? Because it's not, when you go to ISKCON temple, when you're staying in ISKCON temple, attend the morning program every day. Why did Prabhupada make it the morning? Only obedience people will come forward. So many ideas. What do we do? So the example is given of the five Pandavas. They are like the five fingers of the hand, all different lengths and sizes, but all serve together. They all go together, right? The five Pandavas, all of them had different capacities, abilities, natures, but they all were together in serving Krishna. So when we come in a session of devotees, this level of tolerance will be needed. Right? This kind of tolerance will be needed where paramata sahishnuta. I'm able to tolerate others' opinion. Okay, the last kind of tolerance for today, when we are staying in association of devotees, which is essential, non-negotiable. Srila Prabhupada would say, if any devotee thinks I can practice alone, Srila Prabhupada would say, that person must be insane. You cannot practice Krishna consciousness alone. Alone, if we are alone, Maya will eat us up anytime. Maya will finish our bhakti anytime. But when we are together, there is strength. But when we are together, the first level of tolerance is Paramata Sahishnuta. The second kind of tolerance that will be needed in us devotees is called Para Utkarsha Sahishnuta. Seeing others good, seeing others doing good, seeing other devotees successful. That also we will need to tolerate. We may find that we began Krishna consciousness along with few devotees, and somebody amongst us is advancing very fast, growing very nicely, doing wonderful seva, right? We see others progress and can be congratulated. But when we see others progress, do we become envious? do you become jealous? Right? So the example comes in Srimad Bhagavatam when Indra became jealous or enemies of Prithu Maharaj. When Maharaj Prithu was doing the 100th sacrifice, uh, Indra was coming in different ways, in different abhushan, in different attires, sannyasi attires, and he was coming to distribute or disturb the yajna. Right? So during Shiva Prabhupada times in a temple, there were two teams who would go out for book distribution. And these two teams would find that every morning when the announcement was made for book distribution, book scores, they were neck to neck. And they wanted, right, the Prabhupada, congratulates, Prabhupada will congratulate the particular team whose scores are higher. So now we need to be on the top. What do we do? Something needs to be done about it. But they tried, everyone was putting their best. But then one team decided to play the game in a bad way. What did they do? They decided in the morning, before the other team will go out for book distribution, before they leave, let us puncture their car. If we puncture the tires, right, then they will have to spend time in changing the tires or repairing the tires, and we will get that much time to distribute extra books. Or Utkarsha Sahishmita. So in the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, we find Lord Chaitanya, when Rupa Goswami comes from Vrindavan, right, and Rupa Goswami has written this drama, beautiful drama, right, and Rupa Goswami also wrote beautiful glories of Lord Chaitanya in the drama. So Lord Chaitanya decides, now that a scholar, a devotee of the order of Rupa Goswami has come, what will happen to other devotees in Jagannath Puri? Especially he wants to test Go Bhattacharya and he wants to test Ramanand Rai. These are two another stalwarts, poets and devotees. And in front of them, Lord Chaitanya glorifies Rupa Goswami. When we hear, appreciation of other devotees, what happens to us? Can we tolerate that? Like, can we be happy? Not just tolerate, can we be happy about, some other devotee getting appreciation and glorification? That tolerance also will be needed. Hmm? But when this tolerance is not there, I just finish with this, what happens? One small boy by the name Shringi, in the first canto of Bhagavatam, we find Shringi is the son of Shamit Rishi. And Shamit Rishi, he was, now Shringi, he got to know from his friends that Parikshit Maharaj had come to work in the forest. He had come to the hermitage. He saw his father. Parikshit Maharaj saw his father in meditation. Yet, what did Parikshit Maharaj do? He put a snake around the father's neck, and the snake bit your father, and your father is dead. This is what Shringi got to hear when he's at the when he's in the river. And right there, he picked up the water from Kaushiki River and he pronounced it first. He could not tolerate. He thought, I'm so powerful. I'm the son of Shamikashi. And Parikshit Maharaj has come and behaved like this. Should have at least, went in home, found out details. No, he did not tolerate and he took the matters in his hand and pronounced the curse. Let this Parikshit, the king Parikshit, die within 7 days. And Prabhupada writes there, because of the intolerance of this small boy, but who had the powers because of his father, because of his intolerance, Parikshit Maharaj was taken out of the scene by Kali and Kaliyuga began. So right here in the association in the temple, right, while we are in a scene of devotees, we can also become an agent of Kali. We can become a representative of Kali if we do not cultivate this quality of tolerance. Okay, let us quickly do a revision. We did three levels of tolerance we discussed. Which were those? Anybody the first level? Krishna's instruction to Arjuna. What was that? First level, Matra Sparshas to tolerate it, right? Because changing seasons, right? Tolerate that, okay. Second level, Brahma. Brahma's prayers. Brahma is said, oh, it is Krishna's mercy. Whatever is happening in my life, that is Krishna's mercy. I accept it as mercy. And the topmost level, Gunchi Maharani, she's inviting troubles. She's praying for calamities. Because if that helps me to remember Krishna, I will accept this also. I tolerate even calamities in my life. So those were three levels of tolerance. And then we discussed four kinds of tolerance. Two for oneself and two while practicing the association of devotees. Which were the first one? So the first one, Veda Sahishnuta, the urges, lust, anger, greed, tolerate that. Veda Sahishnuta, second, Dvandva Sahishnuta, they're living in the world of dualities. These dualities will hit, tolerate. So that is for personal practice. Then we discuss in the association of devotees, with the level of problems, this is the kind of problem, sorry. Paramata Sahishnuta, others' opinions we have to tolerate. And the last, Parapakarsha, someone else's success, right? That also we need to learn to tolerate. Otherwise, we we stand the chance, right, to become the representatives of Kali rather than becoming representatives of Guru and Krishna. Thank you very much. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। So even in our personal lives, like home and office, everywhere is tolerant. We need this. We need to live with our tolerance.
You mentioned about different levels of tolerance. Um, so at this level, here in the southern stage, we don't have these tolerances naturally. Right? When a disturbance comes, then you know we can best case tolerate it, even though we don't have the quality. Let's say somebody is directly speaking harsh words on me. Even though I do get angry, I do have that adrenaline anger does come out, but I can just pretend like I'm being calm. So, um, so how do we go about it? It's not like we don't have the quality to pay this kind of pretending.
So when we don't have it, we build a tolerance. Why don't we get frustrated? Because the world that we are living in, it's going to oppose us. It's not going to go the way I want them to go. If even if now I see that maybe I'm young, I have the capacity, I have the you know ability, but it will not remain the same. It won't remain the same. Like the entire world was going at a speed, and suddenly COVID hit. And when COVID hit, every one of us was stopped wherever we were. And we were told we cannot even come out. What did we do? Tolerated. We went through it. Similarly, life and death. Death can come any moment. So we have to prepare ourselves. We're running fast on the material path. We're running fast on the path of material advancement, but it will not remain the same. I will have to learn the art of tolerance. So every day I bring a little bit on it. How do I begin? As Krishna says, begin with the senses. The senses are gross, try to control them. Right? Like Ekadashis, we fast. Like every day we eat, but on that day we tell our senses, no, you're not going to get, especially tongue. You will not get it, and then we tell the tongue, now you have to chant more. You're guilty of one, right? By simple practical austerities at the level of senses, austerity at the level of mind, right? When you study scriptures, we said we, we close everything And we tell our mind, no, now simply reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to be nourished our intelligence. Next time any situation comes, our intelligence comes and will come forth and save us. Oh, in Gita this was said, you read it, now apply it. It says come to you now. Like Arjuna went to this. What's the big thing? You have to go through it. Right? So we begin with the senses and the mind and the intelligence, but we work on it little by little. Now, when you specifically said that somebody is harsh upon you, somebody is strong. So these things can happen to anybody, right? But what will save us is if we are experiencing shelter. If we are experiencing the strong wind, it's rainy, but I have a shelter over my head, then it doesn't affect me. So when I am experiencing shelter in Sri Prabhupada, in the holy name, like at the temple, I experience shelters. The whole you can say, oh, America is opulent, similar, but it's so demanding. But when I come to the temple, I feel like I'm in Vrindavan. I feel the trees are in the center, the Seva is there, devotees are there, Guru is there, Vaishnavas are there. When you experience this shelter, then the other part you can tolerate. Thank you. Thank you. So just don't you can remain a guest. When you come to the temple, like Sunday things we are coming. We should want to enhance our faith. From being a guest, we become hosts and we become participants in the temple activities. Yeah. Okay, let us stop here. We'll do the arati or we will keep this. What do you what do you do after? We'll keep it. Okay, fine.